Hello, good yo-yo people. I'm Nate. I'm a sponsored player by Squared YoYos and Spool Thread Co. Yo-Yo String, and this is another episode of Nate Reviews Yo-Yos. Today, I have the privilege and the honor of reviewing the Executive Pocket Yo-Yo. The Executive is a passion project between Ernest Kahn and Dr. Popular. This is my review of the Executive. This is the in the hand section. What does it actually feel like in the hand before I throw it? You will find everything about this yo-yo, the specs, where to buy it. There's quite a few different places to buy it, as well as any information that you might want to know. The Executive is a yo-yo I've had for quite a while, actually. I got this through their Kickstarter, which I think is really cool. I would love to see, on a side note, I would love to see more companies, yo-yo companies, do Kickstarters. I love Kickstarters. I've backed dozens of Kickstarter projects over the years, and so it was a no-brainer for me to back this. In fact, I backed it the very first day, which is why I have this special swirl here, which was only available for those. This is the blue and yellow swirl done by Grunt Bull. That was exclusive just to first day backers. Currently, on another side note, Dr. Popular, Doc Pop, whatever you want to call him, also has a Kickstarter right now for the Bolt 2. The Bolt is a classic yo-yo that was produced by Yo-Yo Jam back in the day. And this is the Bolt 2, Delrin plastic, aluminum anodized caps. I've already backed that. I backed that the first day too. You should do that if you haven't. So that's a total side note. But let's get into the yo-yo. This is a pocket yo-yo. And if you don't know the backstory a little bit behind this yo-yo, Ernest and Doc, they both have a love for undersized pocket small yo-yos, and they wanted to make one themselves. To make a very long story short, and so this is what they created. One Drop machined these for them, so the quality of machining is superb. Couple of things that stand out though: there are quite a few pocket yo-yos out there, especially older school yo-yos or mid-school yo-yos. There was quite a few then, and there's a few newer ones now, but people aren't really producing pocket yo-yos anymore. Most yo-yos keep getting bigger and wider, and that's not a horrible thing, but you certainly can't just comfortably throw one in your pocket without having to take it out of your pocket when you sit down, for instance. So this is a pocket-sized yo-yo, but one of the things that I want to say that makes it very different in the hand is that it is intended to, in my opinion, not intended to necessarily give the false impression that it's larger than it is. It feels like a pocket yo-yo. For instance, a good example of that would be my review of the Mini Star 2. That was a smaller yo-yo, and it wasn't necessarily pocket size like this, but it was a bimetal, and so it had a feeling like it was larger than it really was. It felt like it, especially on the string and tricks. So they decreased the weight quite a bit on this, so it doesn't feel like it's, because if it's heavy, when it being smaller in diameter, it's definitely going to feel just more like a brick. As much as I really like the Dingo by One Drop, this has a very different feel than the Dingo. The Dingo has more of a solid play. Now, I wouldn't necessarily say the Dingo has a brick sort of feel or a rock feel to it, but it is much heavier, and you can tell the difference. It does have like a little IRG, which you could, it's like your thumb almost fits completely in that IRG. I'm going to try to do a finger spin with it as well. I've pulled off a few, but it's not necessarily like meant for finger spins like the Bolt 2 is going to be. But it has a really nice gap width for the size it is. Let me pull the string out here. And so you can see it is a full-size bearing. It came with a One Drop 10-ball bearing, flat bearing. I actually went ahead and switched that out for a concave bearing, a centering bearing. I feel like that plays a little bit better for this yo-yo in my opinion. I think that covers it. Let's go ahead and see how it actually plays on the string. Alright, welcome back to the On the String section with the Executive by Ernest, Kahn, and Doc Pop. this yo-yo immediately appealed to me because it is a pocket yo-yo, and I'll show you right here one of the best things. So I got my chapstick in here right now, but I'll move that. So this is my watch pocket, you know, as they sometimes are called, right there. That's how I oftentimes carry it, and it is like, you can see that. It's, I mean, it's that small. I also wanted to review this yo-yo because, well, there's some new runs of it coming out, and as well as a nickel version of it, which I was very tempted to pick up. Let's see if I can pull off a finger spin on this. Nice. Yeah, it's actually a lot of fun. It's not as hard as you think. One of the things I'll say in the play, it doesn't play like a full-size yo-yo. I actually really appreciate that. It plays like a mini yo-yo should. So the weight of it is just about right. It doesn't feel super heavy, and it zips through tricks, but also feels a little light. Now, on longer tricks, it doesn't have the crazy long spin times as a lot of competition performance-driven yo-yos are. You shouldn't expect that. You should expect a fun, laid-back yo-yo. Now, it does have, you know, it's got good spin times for tricks that you're going to do, but I wouldn't pick this up to compete with. That's not the intention at all. And so, one of the things I would say is that be careful on some of your binds like that. Like I do a lot of binds where I kind of, I don't know, what kind of bind is that called? Where you just kind of just throwaway binds? I don't know what they're called. But sometimes on longer trips, it's easier just to kind of go with a little bit more of a conservative bind. Does that make sense? And so more binds like where you're just kind of just pulling up straightforward, and that way you know that it's not going to spin out on you. Let me just throw it for a little while and I'll show you what I mean. I'm just making up stuff, just throwing it around just to get some spin time here. So it's, I have to kind of reach a little bit for it. So see what I'm saying? If I were to bind like I would typically maybe do on a larger, you know, performance competition driven, maybe like in the lead or something like that, where I know like the spin times are going to be so good that the binds are going to be always solid, you just might be careful with that. Okay, does that make sense? So that just kind of the playability. So you kind of have to get used to it, but play with it for a while and you'll immediately get used to how it plays. Let's go ahead and throw a trick. Saw a little bit on the bind there. You do have to be careful a little bit to get clean binds. Like I said, be a little bit more conservative about your binds even there. I mean, it fell out, you know, but it might actually even be helpful to shorten your string a little bit than you would standardly do. I play with full-length string. I'm a 6'2" guy, so I play with pretty long string. But you might want to shorten it for this yo-yo. It might be interesting to swap out that C-size bearing for a A-size small bearing. It would be interesting to see how that might affect the play and maybe get a little bit tighter binds on certain things. But overall, I really enjoy the Executive. I think it's exactly what it was trying to do, to be a fun pocket size, but also offer something that most pocket size yo-yos don't have, and that is a lighter on the specs. You know, definitely feels like a small yo-yo. That's my final word on the Executive by Ernest, Kahn, and Dr. Popular. And as always, good day and good yo-yo.